That's the verdict of football consultant Ian McGarry, who says he would not be surprised in the slightest to see the Portuguese in Paris next season. Mourinho has been out of work since losing his job at Manchester United in December. The 55-year-old had stewarded the club's worst-ever start to a Premier League campaign, with a 3-1 defeat away at Liverpool 2 days prior to his dismissal proving the final nail in the coffin. Now the special one is on the hunt for a new club, and McGarry thinks his personal desire to win the Champions League with 3 different clubs means he would be the right fit for PSG. What's very clear as well is that Qatar have not invested the amount of money that they have in Paris Saint-Germain to see them run away with the French league every year, he told the Transfer Window podcast. It's almost embarrassing how many points ahead they are already in January. It's not been unlike the terms of managership of Laurent Blanc, of Carlo Ancelotti or Unai Emery, all of whom were sacked. Why? Because they didn't go far enough or close enough in winning the Champions League. Qatar want that profile and the prestige of making Paris Saint-Germain champions of Europe, and they want a manager that can do that because they've already invested hundreds of millions of pounds in players that they hope should be able to do it, and so it's therefore up to the conductor of the orchestra to make sure the symphony is sounding good and good enough to claim the biggest prize, simple as that. Also, of course, you have the other side of that coin, where you've got a manager in Jose Mourinho who has a personal ambition of winning 3 Champions League trophies with 3 different clubs from 3 different countries. But also being the first manager to do that, so him making history himself. Few other coaches in the game have won 3 Champions Leagues, but never with 3 different clubs. Now that would, if you like, set Mourinho's legacy absolutely at the very top of the world game. We know that his ego is not very small, so I'm sure as much as it is his professional satisfaction, it is his personal satisfaction as well. So I do believe that if you put those things together and you've got a manager with a bit of a point to prove, Mourinho these days, given that his earlier than expected departures from his last 2 jobs at Chelsea and Manchester United, then Paris Saint-Germain might just be the right fit. But also, Mourinho might be the right man to harness the outrageous individual talents like Neymar and Kylian Mbappé and turn them into a team that is capable of challenging when you get to that very, very high level of Champions League quarter, semi and final. He's done it with Inter and he did it with Porto, 2 teams who were considered underdogs in both those finals, and he got them over the line. So given the ambition of PSG and their owners, I think it's a great surprise, and I would not be surprised in the slightest to see Mourinho managing PSG next season. Mourinho has been linked with a move to PSG in recent weeks, with Thomas Tuchel's long-term future at the Parc des Princes uncertain. And according to journalist Duncan Castles, the former United boss has held talks with club president Nasser Al-Khelaifi. While Mourinho was out in Doha, doing his work for the local broadcasters, he had a meeting with the president of Paris Saint-Germain, Nasser Al-Khelaifi, he said. I'm told an informal meeting, but I think this is something important and to pay attention to because Mourinho is, as he talked about on those TV appearances, he's preparing himself for his next job. He's monitoring other leagues, assessing clubs, trying to work out of the clubs that have an interest in him.